What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. That's not Scott Katamas. I'm Scott Katamas. There we go. But that's the lovely Desiree, who adds so much to the Awakening World. Welcome. It's our Wednesday night edition of the Awakening World. And we are celebrating the start of World Unity Week with the theme of truth, beauty, and goodness. And we definitely want to hear what truth, beauty, and goodness means to you. I want to invite all of you to come and join us. And it's easy to do that. You know, I know a lot of you are watching on Facebook or on YouTube. And guess what? You can join and be with us right away. You can get the links to the Zoom room so you can interact with us and chat with us. Let's face it, the world is going through some really scary times. The war in the Middle East just keeps growing and expanding. There's even the threat of nuclear war. It's scary. And so that's why the Global Peace Tribe exists. We are here to provide inspiration and information, and also always wonderful music and video. So if you want to join us, it's easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. Globalpeacetribe.com. You can learn all about our upcoming shows, a little bit about our history. Click register for the new season. It takes about 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds to register, and you'll immediately get the Zoom room links. And you can come right in and join us. And if you join now, you'll get the Zoom room links for all of our shows from now all the way till the end of September. And we've got a lot of very special shows planned, such as tonight. And tonight we are celebrating that we are the ones we've been waiting for. And if we want to create peace in the world, we start in our own relationships, and we're going to talk about that. Certainly, we establish how to talk to people that are different, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation around that. And we even look to the stars and appreciate our galactic family that we work with. So let me tell you who we've got on the show tonight. First of all, I want to thank Tiara, who is letting people in, and she is my co-host. Especially now that Omashar is still in England, but Omashar will be back, good Lord granting, on Saturday night. We have Hallelujah Anasuya with us. You know, it's Juneteenth this week, and she's going to share with us what Juneteenth really means. In fact, tomorrow is Juneteenth. She's going to share with us the history of it and what we can do to celebrate this very important, especially what's going on in the world right now, very special holy day. So welcome, Hallelujah Anasuya. I'm so glad she's with us. And by the way, you know, in the beginning, there was Christy Michaels. And Christy Michaels is where it all began. She is who brought Anasuya into this, into our world, our Global Peace Tribe world. And she has brought a very special relative of hers, Ari, who was raised as a Zionist Jew. And she's also brought Sahar Nafal, who is Palestinian. And we'd have a beautiful conversation between someone of Jewish heritage, Palestinian heritage, about creating peace in the world. Isn't that a cool thing? We also are going to have a video from Moshe. He's here. And to lighten everything up, as well as provide his own unique wisdom, the one and only Steve Bhaerman, who looks very much like his identical twin, Swami Beyondananda, is going to be with us. So excited about that. And then we have pre-recorded videos from Becky Suzik letting us know all about World Unity Week, how to get involved, and Dominic Delgado, who is running the Interstellar University. So we start with our personal relationships, and we work on the global, and then we even work on the interstellar. So it's going to be a really fun show. And since Moshe is not here, normally we would start with an Moshe song. And I actually had one on video, but I was so touched by the beautiful video that we saw last week from Tatiana. I think it really sums up what tonight's show is all about. So we're going to start with that.
Today we come together with a new vision for humanity, to co-create a united Earth family. And with this vision and our shared intuition, we have the potential to bring peace on Earth to fruition. We imagine a world where we take care of all of life. And with this intention, we become beacons of light. So let's join together in manifestation to bring about societal transformation. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. We come together to unite, we come together to ignite unity between all forms of life. I see the one in the all and the all in the one. Our hearts beat to the same drum. We come together for the fate of the earth. Every single one of us is needed to rebirth a new community, a new earth family, a new reality and unity for all humanity. If we educate, we can innovate, create a blank slate for the world to co-create a new fate of societal change and renewal. Indigenous knowledge is a key, is a tool. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. United, 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 let's come together, Earth family. United, 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 let's come together, Earth family. We are co-creators, we are innovators, we are change makers, pioneers and trailblazers, paving a path for an inclusive civilization to arise, a regenerative future for all beings, all life. We nurture cultures of peace and integrity. We celebrate the beauty of our infinite diversity, and from every corner of the world, creative expression paves the way for a future of intimate connection. The leaders of today, the leaders of tomorrow, we have seeds to sow, visions to grow, places to go, and now we know it's time for unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity,
A big thank you again to Tatiana Speed, who, of course, wrote the music, created it. I'm going to spot myself here. Thank you so much, Desiree, for what you do. It's awesome. I just love it. Thank you. So Tatiana Speed, who is one of our regulars, she was on the show the last 2 Saturday nights, and she wrote the song and she edited that video. She did an amazing job. All right, we are going to flow right into Hallelujah Anasuya, but I do want to read a few of the comments that have come in because I asked everybody, and I would still love people to write what truth, beauty, and goodness means to all of you. Trisha writes, so beautiful. I loved seeing this video when we heard it last Saturday. I feel hope that we can come together when I let your message in. Thank you. And R.E., who we'll be hearing from soon. Dr. Laura, people really enjoying this video. Tarina Joy, coming to us all the way from Ecuador, points out that today is Happy International Day for Countering Hate Speech. That's very relevant. And yes, Susan, lions and elephants are most loved. Okay, I'm going to bring up Hallelujah Anasuya. She certainly has become one of our favorite, most beloved luminaries, presenters, and you've been here many times over the years, speaking on different topics, but it's your first time with us on Juneteenth. And I really, this year when I wanted to do something on Juneteenth, I want you to know, I thought, Antoinette, no, she's already done that. Piper, no. Hallelujah Anasuya. You were the first one that came to mind. So I'm glad that you agreed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the invitation. What an honor.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like us to take a pause. Just close our eyes and just feel our heartbeats. Just feel the beating of our hearts, because it's so important to just pause and recognize the miracle of our heart beating, because it blessedly does not require any support from us to do so, because I know if I had to keep my heart beating or the air coming in and out of my mouth, I would probably be dead, because I would forget. But divine grace keeps our heart beating and our blood flowing and the air moving in and out of our lungs. And for me, that's a miracle. Now feel your wrists, keeping your eyes closed, and feel the texture of your wrist. Feel if there's anything on it, like bracelets or strings or mala beads or whatever. Things can be on your wrist. Just feel what's there. Did you put them there? Did someone else put them there? Were they a gift? Did a child tie something on your wrist that they made at school? And then feel your ankles. Anything on your ankles? Any kind of string or anklet or maybe a sock. And do you notice that both on your ankles and hands, there either is nothing or something you put there or something you allowed to be there, which was not the case for those enslaved for almost 300 years in this, union. It wasn't a country yet, but in the union, ever-growing union called the Union of States in America. What was on their arms were shackles. They had shackles on their necks. They had shackles on their ankles. They were chained to each other in the abominable slave ships crossing the Atlantic from somewhere in Africa, because they didn't just come from West Africa. They came from Central, they came from South, they came from East. The enslaved were taken from many places. And I keep saying enslaved because they were not slaves. That implies that they were slaves in their homeland. No, these were scientists that they took, people who were great at agriculture, who knew how to grow rice and beans and things that weren't in the Americas, but The Europeans wanted them in America, so they brought the people who knew how to grow those things, who knew how to do metal work, who knew how to, were great at timber and trees. They brought experts over in their fields to make this country work because it wasn't working. They weren't growing food. They were barely surviving because any wisdom they could have gotten on how to stay here safely and healthily was destroyed by killing majority of the Native Americans. So they got the bright idea that the food in Africa would be good here, which is why we have gourds and pumpkins and okra and so many foods that you think are indigenous here are not. Rice is not indigenous to here. So they brought experts in their field over here. Scientists, astronomers, they brought mathematicians, they brought mothers and fathers, they brought teachers. They brought so many people over against their will, chained together by neck, by wrist, by feet, in boats designed to hold 200 people. They would fit almost 1,000 on top of each other. And so it's been documented as close to 10 million people at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean from those ships that came starting in the late 1300s, early 1400s, from Portugal to Brazil. And then other countries got the idea and they took them to other places like Colombia, Argentina, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, all up the Americas. Africans were taken on ships that went from the bottom of South America all the way to Canada. And luckily they didn't stay too long in Canada. But you just have to know, this was a very lucrative business. It funded every bank in England, every bank in France, every bank in Spain and Portugal. They got monies in the coffers from this business of transporting enslaved bodies and auctioning them off and gaining money from the auction and also gaining money from the crops that they grew, like sugar. It didn't exist in Europe. So many things. So it was beneficiary to so many people to have all of these Africans keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And even when it was declared illegal to bring more slaves in, more enslaved people in, there were several captains who were paid on the down low to secretly go and get slaves and bring them back, even though it was illegal to do so. And that last boat that happened, that was called, it landed in, I forget what state, but it's the town is called, the village where they hid these people because they knew they came from somewhere. And so they had to come from Africa. They formed Africa Town after the emancipation. And one of the things that most people don't know is that there were two major ports that received enslaved beings for the Union. Charleston, South Carolina was the largest. Most ships from anywhere in Africa came to Charleston, and the second place was New York. New York. Supposedly a northern state, supposedly a free state, supposedly and a place if you got to, you would be free. That is not true. We all know about Wall Street and it being the first stock exchange in the US, but you don't know that Wall Street was where the boats landed and delivered the enslaved to the auction blocks were right there on the pier in New York. So the first stock ever exchanged in the US were enslaved bodies. Not grains, not food, not anything else. And that's what made Wall Street as wealthy as it is. Slavetocracy. So as we're seeing these visuals, as your mind can generate them, Juneteenth is all about what looked like the end of slavery as we know it. So we can open our eyes now. So I can show you a very short video about this and then provide further information as we explore today just what is freedom. What is freedom? So I'm gonna go get this video Oh, don't.
Honestly, you're doing such a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm learning, and just the way you're presenting this, thank you. I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you, Seth. That means a lot to me because I really contemplated what's the best way to discuss this in a contemporary way while
do it.
honoring how we got here. Because you can't explain Juneteenth without saying what came before.
And you know what? I had never thought about the 10 million that didn't even make it over.
Didn't even make it.
Yeah.
And how we know is because each ship is insured by one of the banks in England or France or Europe. So each ship captain was given money to hire to bring back a certain amount of slaves, and they named each one where they got them from, how many they got from each country. And then they had to deliver that number there to the US or wherever they were sending, whether it was Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, or whether they were sending them to Colombia, any other place. They had a number they started off with and a number they ended up with. And that's how we know, where did the ones go that didn't arrive? Underwater. Underwater.
Hey, thank you for preparing this video. We're looking forward to seeing it.
Yes. So it's a very brief video and it tells a very brief part of Juneteenth, but it's beautiful. So we'll just watch it. And okay, back out. Okay, back out. Okay, and we go.
One day, while hiding in the kitchen, Charlotte Brooks overheard a life-changing secret. At the age of 17, she'd been separated from her family and taken to William Nealon's Texas plantation. There, she was made to do housework at the violent whims of her enslavers. On that fateful day, she learned that slavery had recently been abolished, but Nealon conspired to keep this a secret from those he enslaved. Hearing this, Brooks stepped out of her hiding spot, proclaimed her freedom, spread the news throughout the plantation, and ran. That night, she returned for her daughter, Tempe, and before Nealon's spiteful bullets could find them, they were gone for good. For more than 2 centuries, slavery defined what would become the United States, from its past as the 13 British colonies to its growth as an independent country. Slavery fueled its cotton industry and made it a leading economic power. 10 of the first 12 presidents enslaved people. And when U.S. chattel slavery finally ended, it was a long and uneven process. Enslaved people resisted from the beginning by escaping, breaking tools, staging rebellions, and more. During the American Revolution, Vermont and Massachusetts abolished slavery, while several states took steps towards gradual abolition. In 1808, federal law banned the import of enslaved African people, but it allowed the slave trade to continue domestically. Approximately 4 million people were enslaved in the U.S. when Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Lincoln opposed slavery, and though he had no plans to outlaw it, his election caused panic in southern states, which began withdrawing from the Union. They vowed to uphold slavery and formed the Confederacy, triggering the start of the American Civil War. A year into the conflict, Lincoln abolished slavery in Washington, D.C., legally freeing more than 3,000 people. And 5 months later, he announced the Emancipation Proclamation. It promised freedom to the 3.5 million people enslaved in Confederate states, but it would only be fulfilled if the rebelling states didn't rejoin the Union by January 1st, 1863. And it bore no mention of the roughly 500,000 people in bondage in the border states of Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri that hadn't seceded. When the Confederacy refused to surrender, Union soldiers began announcing emancipation. But many southern areas remained under Confederate control, making it impossible to actually implement abolition throughout the South. The war raged on for 2 more years, and on January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment. It promised to end slavery throughout the U.S., except as punishment for a crime. But to go into effect, 27 states would have to ratify it first. Meanwhile, the Civil War virtually ended with the surrender of Confederate General Robert E. Lee on April 9, 1865. But although slavery was technically illegal in all Southern states, it still persisted in the last bastions of the Confederacy. There, enslavers like Kneeling continued to evade abolition until forced. This was also the case when Union General Gordon Granger marched his troops into Galveston, Texas on June 19th and announced that all enslaved people there were officially free and had been for more than 2 years. Still, at this point, people remained legally enslaved in the border states. It wasn't until more than 5 months later, on December 6, 1865, that the 13th Amendment was finally ratified. This formally ended chattel slavery in the U.S. Because official emancipation was a staggered process, people in different places commemorated it on different dates. Those in Galveston, Texas, began celebrating Juneteenth, a combination of June and 19th, on the very first anniversary of General Granger's announcement. Over time, smaller Juneteenth gatherings gave way to large parades, and the tradition eventually became the most widespread of emancipation celebrations. But while chattel slavery had officially ended, racial inequality, oppression, and terror had not. Celebrating emancipation was itself an act of continued resistance, and it wasn't until 2021 that Juneteenth became a federal holiday. Today, Juneteenth holds profound significance as a celebration of the demise of slavery, the righteous pursuit of true freedom for all, and a continued pledge to remember the past and dream the future. People resisted slavery in the U.S. as long as it persisted, uncovered the story of those who escaped slavery, and created a secret society in the Great Dismal Swamp with this video. Or learn about the incredible courage of Harriet Tubman with this video.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Oh, what a wonderful, short, sweet, very clear history. And Susan Blomquist writes, thank you for this informative video. Carol writes, great video. Thank you, Anasuya.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Laura and Karen S. are adding some other pieces of the history, which is very valuable. Tim and Dr. Laura are appreciating you very much, and we all are. Thank you. This is wonderful. So what do we do?
I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, what do we do today? How can we today celebrate and support our friends of color?
Well, we're really not talking about people of color. We're really talking about Black people. Black people are the ones who endured and suffered this, not people of color. So we have to, when we're talking about Black people, we need to not say, oh, you people of color. No, we're not. We're Black, as determined by this country, as determined by the racist geneticists and eugenicists. We've been called that, and we've been declared that, and we're marked that on every census. So we don't get to name who we are. We don't declare our own sovereignty in terms of how we call ourselves. This is Black was what we're giving. And that's an upgrade from some of the other names we were called that are horrific. So I'll take the upgrade. And, you know, just going back to New York briefly, we have that beautiful Statue of Liberty. What do you all think it means?
My imagining is that it represents America as a place of new opportunity, and a place where people can pursue their dreams, pursue a better life.
Right. Does anybody have anything different that they think the Statue of Liberty represents? Because what Scott said is pretty prevalent, but there are other opinions. Yeah.
So if somebody has, raise your hand by going to the little clicking thing. By the way, Anasuya, we've got about 7 more minutes.
Okay. Just curious. Well, You can put it in the chat box. But the Statue of Liberty was given to America after the Civil War ended, and officially all of the millions of enslaved people had been freed. It was sculpted by a French abolitionist who fought hard for American slavery to end. And he built her, but her original arms had shackles hanging down from them, which is why I asked you what's on your wrist. And they knew, because it arrived very freshly after the Civil War, they knew half of the country would be pissed off if the Statue of Liberty in New York representing America had slavery bonds on it. So they said, we got to make some changes to it. So they took the chains off and hid it in her skirt. And there is one hanging down from her feet, shackles. So they just moved them under her skirt so that it comes down and you can see it at her ankles. And instead, what did they put? A torch in one hand and a tablet in the right, and some bullshit about what it stands for, but not at all the truth. And the abolitionist Edward was devastated, because that wasn't his intention. When it was received by the American abolitionists, they knew the intention. But white supremacy has a way of rewriting history, and it was instant rewrite, instant. So I say that to say that a lot of things that have been put out there about how the slaves are freed and everybody could do what they want. But did you hear in the video it said all enslaved people would be free except when punished by the law, which became the 13th Amendment. And there's a beautiful film called 13, which is about the 13th Amendment. And that is the law that says any Black person, originally Black, and then they kind of tapered it down. Any Black person who was caught committing a crime can be enslaved again as punishment for their crime, which is why we had the chain gangs, which is why we had so many ways of punishing Black people who were either standing in some place where they shouldn't have been standing. Oh, that's a crime, you can't be loitering. Who were walking down the street and didn't get off the sidewalk when a white person walked by, arrest them, that's a crime. They were filling the jails very much like they are now. This is the greatest place of slavery still existing. We have the largest prison system in the entire world, not the West, the entire world. We have the largest prison system, which means enslaved people. So we think people are free, but they found many tricky ways to keep slavery in place. And if you don't know it, for-profit prisons, private prisons, are manufacturing sites for Boeing, for Lockheed Martin, for many corporations. They get their labor done by by people in prisons. People don't know that. I don't know what you think they're doing in prisons, but they're actually working for pennies, which is slavery, to make these billion-dollar rockets and planes and your clothes. Many of your clothes that you're wearing are made in prison, but they don't tell you that. So, my original question is, what is freedom? Because for us, it's very conditional, and the goalpost keeps moving. So what to do about it now, as they ban more books and destroy our history and the beautiful African-American history that was created by the Smithsonian by a woman who was the daughter of slaves. I want y'all to get this. This museum opened in 2016 by a woman whose parents were slaves, because I don't want anyone to think, oh, this is so long ago. No, my grandmother's parents were born in slavery, and they were able to see emancipation, I think when they were 7 or 8, but they were born in slavery. Slavery is not that far, because people have this illusion, oh, that's a long time ago. No, it is not. But they've gone into this museum that people have donated their family memorabilia on, their artifacts, shaped every part of our history in this US since 1619. And some even gave evidence of our arrival in the 1400s. That's a different subject. This president has gone into those museums, and all the hardest evidence of white wrongdoing, he has removed every piece of evidence. Talk about erasure of history. So banning books, erasing history in museums, closing all access to the truth. It's just, and yeah, I found out this morning that 25 million people, that Trump had redone 2020 census to take 25 million people who are mixed race and said they were mixed. He took them out of that category and put them in the white category. So the population of white people was one number in 2020, and as of this week, it's doubled because he wanted more white people, he wanted the country to be majority white. Oh, never mind. This is not funny, but this is what I'm talking about what's happening today. And what we can do is, one, really encourage people to read more, exchange books. If they have any books on history, excuse me, especially Black history, get them. If you have Black friends, because so many white people I met do not have Black friends, but if by any chance you do, who have Black history books in their family that are heirlooms that have been passed down, ask to read them. You still can get any book online. You might have to read it online. You may not be able to get it shipped to you, but you still can get access to every library in the world because of the internet is that effective. So don't deny yourself history. The most important thing is to be educated, because they are making this country dumber and dumber and dumber intentionally so that they can be easily controlled with fake news and lies. So you have to inform yourself on what has happened. What role did your family play in it? Because it's a lot of gray in there. It's a lot of gray areas. There's no black, white. There's a lot of gray. You know, in our families, we might have one uncle who was part of the Confederacy and an aunt who was part of the Underground Railroad. All families say that all mixed together. So what role did your family play? How did you benefit if your family came over in the 20s and 30s through Ellis Island under the feet of the Statue of Liberty? How did you benefit from all of the slave labor, from all the denial of wealth to Black people, so that when you came here, you were given things that we never got? We still don't get. The Ukrainians came over and they got a house, they got cars, they got a job, they got insurance, health benefits right off the boat. Black people still haven't been given those things to this day. So what ways did all those waves of European who came over in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s benefit in ways that we never have and never will? We have to start thinking about how it's systemic and structural racism. And it's systemic and structural in how it keeps Black people always at the bottom. No matter what we do, there are always a few that escape, and people say, oh, well, what about this person? What about? They're millionaires. That's great. But the majority are living in segregated towns, as in cities you think are like Berkeley or Oakland. You think they're all liberal, all mixed together. No, they're still segregated because of redlining. They're still living in areas where they have dump sites for waste. They're still living in areas with poor air conditioning. So most of these children have asthma and all kinds of things because of their environment. They're still in food deserts in these neighborhoods and these integrated towns. They're not the same. You can be in the same city and live completely two worlds, and white people are oblivious to that because it doesn't affect them, so they don't have to. So when they go to vote for what happens in their city, they don't think about, well, how are those poor Black kids surviving? What's in their schools? What are they being taught? How are their books? Are they better or less than ours? Who takes the time to find out where is the harm being done around you? Because this is the only way it's going to change. When you wake up to what's happening literally around you and step in and say, I can do something about this one thing. I can get new books in the schools. Oh, I can do something about one thing. I can help clean up their neighborhoods so they can breathe better. I can do something, one thing. I can bring food to the homeless. You don't have to solve every problem, but what's the one thing you are choosing to do to make the difference? Because there are many problems that have been put there institutionally, systemically, and sustainably, powerfully. It doesn't let go. White supremacy is always changing the goalposts. You challenge it here, you win here, and then they say, okay, fine, you won that much. I'm gonna do it over here, but I'm gonna do it 10 times worse. And that's how it's been for 450 years. So I hope that was clear what my suggestions are. And if you don't know any Black people, besides at a distance, hide your work, but have never had them over for dinner, had never been out socially with them, are not friends with them, make friends and let them be clear that you are not the enemy, because there's a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. And Black people are now becoming very afraid of all of you, because people they thought, I include myself, people I thought were friends voted for this monster, knowing full well that he promised to do things that he promised to do, and started doing them in the first 100 days. And they're still like, he's doing a great job. So if those were my friends, who can I trust? So if you have the courage to show yourself as trustworthy and count onable, please do, because we need to know who our allies are more than ever now. It is going to get 10 million times worse than what it is now. You haven't even seen the bloodshed that's about to be spilled. And I'm speaking metaphorically, but there will be some literally. And if that big, beautiful bill gets passed in the Senate, it won't be just Black people crying, and it won't be just Black people dying, and it won't be Black children not getting born, because already I forget the names of things, but when Black women go into hospitals to deliver babies, they don't live. And we have the highest rate of whatever that's called in the world, not the country, not the US, not the West, in the world. We have the highest level of mothers dying, giving birth in the whole world. So what can you do about that?
Honestly, thank you. No, that everything you're saying is so important. And it's called infant mortality rate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when the babies die, but the mothers are dying.
Right.
It's the mothers, that's the problem. Because they've had negligent prenatal care. When they had problems in their pregnancy and talked to the doctors ignored it, said it's nothing. And then it turned into very much something. And these women die, and sometimes their babies too. And if you don't know, Adriana Smith, I think she was in Texas, but one of these states that force women to have babies, that you can't have an abortion. She was hit, I think, by an accident, rendered her unconscious, and then she was brain dead. And she was 5 months pregnant. And her advance directive said, if something happens to me, take me off life support. Her family advocated for her to be taken off life support because she was dead to the world. And the state forced her to carry that baby like a human incubator, carry it to the end. And when it delivered it at 1 pound and 3 ounces, then they said, you can let her die now. So what is free? We're still not free. I don't want to have anybody have an illusion that we are free. We are not. We just have the look of free.
Honestly, we're already 15 minutes over, and we've got amazing presenters and everything you shared, but here is something we all can do. I'm going to do it right now, and I'm hoping many of our viewers will do it. Anasuya is going to be going into the hospital for surgery.
Next month.
Next month. And it's really important that we support her. I just put the GoFundMe into the chat box for our Zoom roomers. For those of you who are watching on Facebook or YouTube, all right, let's show Anasuya. And she didn't know, by the way, that we would support her in this way. This is a surprise.
It is.
But please, if you just go to GoFundMe and you pop in Anasuya, make sure it's this way, because there's 2 GoFundMes for her.
There's 2. So make sure you see Ashley Merritt under my face. Ashley Merritt is the organizer. That's the right one.
Great. And I also want to remind everybody, when you're donating, and I'm going to donate $111, which is kind of what I always do.
Thank you.
So notice, everybody, down here, you don't have to, there's a little toolbar, that is where GoFundMe gets its tip. You can take that toolbar and you can slide it all the way to the left. You do not have to give money to GoFundMe if you don't want to. So just when you make your donation, go in and do that. I will complete this because I don't want people to see my credit card, which happened.
What? You don't?
Before? That happened once before. So not that anybody, I think, abused it, but hallelujah, Anasuya, wonderful. I want to also point out one other thing I should say, that she has some a lot. This is, even though she's got some very serious health issues, she is a busy woman, and there's all sorts of things you can find on her link Linktree. I think most people know now about Linktree. It's linktr.ee/hallelujah, Anasuya. And that's where you can find a lot of her wonderful offerings.
And what's not there is on YouTube, because I can't keep up with updating it, but the lot is on YouTube as well.
Okay,
and
great.
I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being so present, for being willing to be here in this tough conversation, to be willing to hear things that you were never taught about, and you ain't never going to be taught about unless you look for it. And I'm happy to say there are many scholars who have been forced out of their jobs at schools, universities, who are teaching their material online, whether it's TikTok or YouTube. So you really can educate yourself if you choose to.
Anasuya, thank you so much for getting us off to a wonderful start tonight. Thank you. I love you so much.
Love you too. Thank you for the invitation. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. You know, there's something like, let's all donate to Hallelujah, Anasuya. And let's also tomorrow or tonight read, do some studying, learn more about it. I think that that's a really good idea. All right, we are going to go to our next presenter. Tonight's going to be a long show, everybody. So make yourself an extra cup of green tea because it's going to be a longer show. Eleanor Troy raised her cup. I love that. We're going to bring on Swami Beyondananda and his alter ego, Steve Bhaerman. And Steve is a very wise man. You know, we all have laughed and appreciate his humor, but he's also written books with Bruce Lipton. And Steve is one of the people I really look to. Does a good job of not just polarizing and going all the way to one extreme or the other, but really does his best to, as the Buddha would say, take the middle road. So he is the middle road master, Swami Beyondananda, also known as Steve Bhaerman. Welcome back.
As you can see, I don't have my turban on right this minute. That is a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
It doesn't require comedy to digest that. I mean, comedy is a great metabolizer of a lot of things, but I think that presentation doesn't need to be metabolized with comedy. I think it needs to sit and settle. I think we need to see what's been deplatformed in this mess that we have right now. There's a lot of reasons. It's way more complicated. As Anasuya said, a lot of families have histories on both sides. It's a mixed bag. But I will bring the Swami on to do some healing, but I first want to acknowledge that this requires a breathing in. So while I'm bringing the Swami on and off video, I would like everybody to just kind of breathe in what they just heard and take it in and bring love to that space and remember the things that we've been taught not to remember. And when I come back on, the Swami will be in the room, okay? Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Steve. I'm going to go to gallery view and I'm going to read some of the comments that have come in from our audience. Susan Woolridge writes, "It's so easy and heartening to donate to Anasuya." Christy Michaels, who is responsible for everything, at least for Anasuya being with us, and also our other guests that have come on after Steve, writes, "Thank you, Anasuya, for your presentation. I learned so much tonight." Yeah, you know, that's something else, people. Pop in the chat box what you learned. I had not thought 10 million in the water, in the ocean. And so many other things that I learned from both Anasuya directly and the wonderful video that she showed. Here's something worth reading. Ayada writes, "My dear Anasuya, I'm almost speechless by everything you've shared. My heart is in shock, as is my brain. And yet I know that the grief and outrage I'm feeling pales in comparison to what you and Black people in the US have endured. I always knew the situation was bad, but I'm learning so much more since the new administration in DC. You were so right. We never were, nor are we being taught about this. I applaud you for your courage, strength, clarity, and capacity to teach in a profoundly impactful way. I will be sharing this information." Beautiful. I think what Ayada wrote really sums up what many of us are feeling. Thank you very, very much. Dr. Laura writes, perinatal mortality is the term. That is such a sad story about the Texas woman. I'm blessed to live in one of the most diverse communities in the US, Rogers Park, Chicago. 80 languages spoken in that area. And Dr. Laura also writes, Anasuya, maximum grace to you for full healing and perfect health. And then the last one that I'll read, and then I think Swami will probably be ready, is from our beloved Connie. And Andrew, who just writes blessings and gratitude to you, dear Anasuya. So Anasuya, I hope you're receiving this love that we all have for you and this appreciation. Thank you so much. All right, there he is.
Everybody take a deep breath, everybody. Breathing is the key to long life, by the way, because when we breathe in, we inspire. When we don't, we expire. So very important to keep breathing through all of this. And you know, this is this is a very, very specific tale of the inhuman kindness as opposed to inhuman unkindness. This is a universal thing. And I'm looking at what is the real problem of our species. And racism is a big problem. It's a huge problem. But even bigger is eracism. Eracism is when one race wants to erase another race. And then the race that is going to be erased says we have to be in a race to erase the other race first. And so there we have an entire world on the eraser's edge. And so part of the backing off of the cliff of all of these things is recognizing that each of us is part of this one singular humanity, no matter what, one human heart that we all share. Very, very important. We're all one with the same one, the universal oneness. The universe has us surrounded, might as well surrender. And we surrender to the power of love, because that's really all there is. When all is said and done, that is what the power there is. Now, for many, many years, I've had a mission. I call it Non-Judgment Day. On Non-Judgment Day, everyone will win beauty contests. On Non-Judgment Day, all of the lawyers will disappear because our trials will be over. We won't need them. Non-Judgment Day is when all of us will actually live together in health and harmony. Now, this may sound like an ideal utopia, but it really is our only hope. Bucky Fuller wrote a book many years ago called Utopia or Oblivion. So given the choice, I'm afraid we're going to have to choose utopia. We're going to have to choose a world that actually where people work together. So I'm going to sing a little song about Non-Judgment Day. It was written many years ago. Some of the references are kind of old, but some of them are very pertinent. If we treat everybody the same, there'll be nobody left to blame. Gotta forgive if we're gonna forgive. Give everything we've been given to give. Not an eye for an eye, it's live and let live. On Non-Judgment Day, on the day non-judgment dawns, I know that everyone will just get along. Arabs and Jews will be pals in Palestine. Instead of bombs, they'll be sending a Valentine. Planting olive trees instead of landmines on Non-Judgment Day. At the end, we'll all throw a party. Absolutely everybody will be there. Hitler will dance with gold in my ear. Jerry Falwell will tango with a couple of queers, and even Jesus will be turning water to beer on Non-Judgment Day. There we have it, folks. There we have it. Because here in the heart, in the head, we have beliefs that keep us separate. And what people believe, totally unbelievable, right? So when we have the dueling dualities in the head, we need to leave the static of the head for the ecstatic of the heart, where we are all together. And so the presentation we just heard earlier, there was a lot of sadness in it. There was a lot of anger. There's a lot of frustration. And yet, the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. So to open our hearts up, to be able to metabolize that and say, now, what do we do? Now, what do we do? And that is why I believe we have a piecemeal approach to peace. Everyone brings a little piece of the piece, a little piece here, a little piece there. We have one big piece everywhere. And we allow ourselves to be educated, to have all of this information come out, because, to take the old saying and turn it around, the truth shall upset you free. And that frees us from the lies. That frees us from all of the misinformation, the disinformation, the toxic information that has kept people separate for all of these years. So here's my dream. I have a dream. We need to bring left and right, front and center, to face the music and dance together, to turn the funk into function and leave the junk at the junction. Swami Beyondananda, namaste, namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
and by the way, I'll see you tomorrow. If you come to there's a program, you can put it up.
I've got it right here. Of course, I've got it ready. There it is.
I'm wanted for questioning. So,
so a wonderful way to celebrate Juneteenth, among all the things that we already talked about, is to spend more time with Swami. It's going to be tomorrow night, June 19th, at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern. And I put the link into the chat box. And can they find it also on your Wake Up Laughing website?
Yeah, they can go to the shopping cart and Wake Up Laughing. They can buy a ticket on the shopping cart. But I would say go to this constant contact page. Okay, that's the place that all the information.
Okay, so I put that chat box in the link. The reason I mentioned it is a lot of people are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, so they can't see the link. So what is a little bit easier for people to know is
wakeuplaughing.com. There it is.
Wakeuplaughing.com. And if you go there, first of all, everybody should save this website because there's a lot of genius and wonderful things there. And I imagine somewhere there's going to be an events category where
it's under the calendar. It's on the calendar. If you go to Swami's calendar,
there we go. And there it is.
I'm sorry. That's the live show that I'm doing. Oh, that's really funny. Okay, well, let's see. How can they find it?
Is it Steve's calendar, maybe?
No, it's it's an online event, so we didn't put it in the physical calendar. My bad. Oh well.
That's all right.
But if you want to track me down, you can. You send me a note and I'll send you a link.
Okay. Steve, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having this program and being able to present this information.
No. You know, you mentioned in one of your words where, we saw Middle East participants coming together. And that's what's going to happen next. I want to thank Christy Michaels again for introducing us to Ari Moshe Wolfe, and also to introducing us to Sahar Nafal. And they are both beautiful, beautiful beings. I've had the good fortune to chat with them a little bit. And we're going to have a conversation, and we are going to open the conversation up to the audience. If you have questions or thoughts, I'll kind of be monitoring it. And I'm going to start by Sahar. If you could tell, first of all, welcome to the Awakening World. Really glad you're with us. For some reason, I'm not hearing you and you're not muted. Say something, please.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thanks. Sahar, would you be willing to just start by sharing with us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much, Scott, for welcoming me and having me here to share my message with your community. I also want to extend a beautiful, heartfelt gratitude to my friend Christy for introducing us. So thank you so much, dear one. I love you so much for this opportunity. My name is Sahar Nafal. I am currently the founder of the Soulful Leader community. My ancestors are Palestinian. My parents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents were all born in Palestine. I was not, unfortunately, and I was born in Kuwait, lived in Saudi Arabia, and immigrated to the US about almost 50 years ago, 1976. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my background. is that I grew up with a mother who she passed almost 15 years ago now. She was a Palestinian activist, and I'm talking about really an activist who worked really hard to speak on behalf of the Palestinian people. She was an author, writer. She received numerous awards for peace. She also spoke on behalf of the Palestinian, mostly Arab women. She has contributed so much of her gifts with so many communities. It was a blessing for me to be able to be raised by this powerful woman who was ahead of her time, yet as a Christian Palestinian woman as well. She learned the Quran so she could teach the African American business Muslim community in Oakland the Quran. She participated in many activities for the indigenous American Indians, so she could also voice the message of Palestine, collaborate. She worked with Dianne Feinstein. She participated in the Kabbalah Convention in Jerusalem with Madonna. She spoke on stages of leaders in the world. She had been published in so many, article, newspaper, magazine. If she were to be alive today, she probably would have been, an influencer or somebody that people would recognize. But we lost her 15 years ago. And unfortunately, she was young, but she was the woman that I was raised by versus my father, who was a brilliant man who knew anything about politics. Later in her years, she realized politics wasn't something that no matter how much she spoke on behalf of the Palestinian people, it was heartbreaking. She actually died of a broken heart because she couldn't do anything about our people and all the suffering and everything that's happening. And now with Gaza, it breaks my heart to really, imagine what she would be saying or what she would be doing. But at the latter years of her life, my mother became a healer, and she started working with a lot of people to heal their pain, especially the Palestinian people. She went to Gaza and she spoke to people in Gaza, especially women, to ease their pain. An amazing woman. And so I am Palestinian, but I am also a light worker. I am somebody here on this earth who chose to be a Palestinian, who my soul has made an agreement to be a Palestinian. And I will be reciting a poem at the end called Living Between Two Worlds. It is not easy to live between two worlds, the world of the light and the world of the dark. And that's my background. I have traveled to Palestine. I lived in Jordan for about 8 months, almost 9 months from last year, February to November. I've seen a lot of people suffering there as well. The pain of what's happening to my people, just heartbreaking. But it took me actually a while for me to decompress of all the pain that I experienced in Jordan for the Palestinian people as well. So there's a lot going on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here tonight. And I want to bring Ari on for a moment. Ari, 2 questions. Of course, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your background, but I'd also love to hear just what goes on inside of you when you hear what Sahar just shared.
Yeah. I feel this deep sense of what you are sharing, Sahar, and your own personal familial connection.
I think you're a little soft.
You're the this is better, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. My kids came in and moved things around. Your personal, direct, intimate familial connection with Palestinian people and the people of Gaza. That speaks deeply to me because I know from my own experience what it's like to only think about my people. How easy it is. And I thought about this on Asuya when you were sharing as well. How easy it is to not really feel empathy or care or concern with them. But it's always important when it's us or someone we love or someone we care about or someone that is in our family. But as long as our heart isn't in it, it's easy. Just, yeah, it's over there. It's their suffering. And it strikes me too how growing up as a Jew in a very Zionistic kind of culture, I never thought of it as a Zionistic culture. Now it's in retrospect. Well, of course it was. I mean, it was very much like this ideal of Jews ideally should go to Israel. I went to Israel after high school. It's a thing that everyone did. How there was never any kind of education about Palestinian people. I only learned literally the word Nakba in my adult life. Never knew about that phrase or that term. It was Israeli Independence Day. And it was absolutely meaningful for me throughout my life, starting when I was maybe 21 or something, when I actually met my first Arab friend, when I was living in an illegal settlement in the West Bank and witnessed things that were sort of cause for pause. Like, wow, that's violent. That's really heartless. And seeing things that impelled me to consider, where do I stand in all of this? And so for me, it means so much. Just to, when we talked on the phone last week, just to make this connection, just to be invited to share this space with you, it feels like this is what my soul needs. This is what the world needs. And I'm not like, I don't have any special story. I'm like many other people, just a Jewish guy in the United States. Like, it's like a common person from that perspective, at least. But now there's an extra layer of meaning in me being a Jew, because I'm deeply impelled and I feel the deep calling right now for myself and others like me to get out of our ethnocentric bubble. And same for the message that Anasuya is sharing with us all. And it's so easy when the suffering isn't to our people to give into the lies that we're taught. I grew up not really feeling understanding or care or empathy for Palestinian people, for kind of hating them, fearing them. They're terrorists. And so there is propaganda and stories and perspectives that, just like white people here in the States grew up learning about Black people and their intelligence or capacities or their violence, or they're the ones who do the crimes, or Hispanics, where these are all the people that are bringing the rapists and the murderers to this country, or they're taking all of our resources, inhumane, dehumanizing. Well, the Palestinians, they'll blow up their kids. They're like animals. They're not as ethical as the Israelis. They think differently. There is a point, just a few months earlier in this year, where I began feeling impelled to speak more vocally on my own platforms. And I began receiving a lot of these comments around like, well, ask this, how many of them support Hamas and how many of them would willingly blow up their child? I'm like, let me just Google, and search around for I wanted to find the name of one Palestinian person in Gaza that actively and vocally loves Jewish people. And I found many. And I've made friends with several. And so this has been an important process for me in humanizing people and then being able to educate and share these teachings with the world, because this is exactly what we're needing right now.
Thank you. I also want to share with you, prior to 1948, there were Palestinian and Jewish people that lived together. They married each other. They loved each other. They were neighbors. They worked. And I want to share a story of my father. He, before he passed, I had the opportunity to spend the last maybe 4 or 5 months with him, and he had dementia. And so he remembered a lot of the history. And I asked him about his upbringing when it happened, 1948, when the first occupation of Palestine. And he said, my grandfather, Elias, actually worked with 2 Jewish partners, business partners equally. And he gave me the name, Shafiq and Eliyahu. And he said they were like my uncles. They would come over and they would have dinner together. And one day, this really brings tears to my heart. When 1948 happened, they were separated. And one day, after maybe many, many years, my father was in high school at the time, and he gets a knock on the door. And these 2 men came with a sack of money. And they said, we owed your dad this money. We want to make sure he gets it.
Wow.
And it literally brings me tears, because the brotherhood and the love that they all had for each other, for them to come back after 10 years because they owed my grandfather money. And it speaks so much volume. This is what we need. We need to unite. And I love the message of hallelujah, what you said about go out there and find African-American, or I'm sorry, Black people to be their friends. Go out there and make an effort. You know, I have a community called the Soulful Leader Community, and I made sure that I had the most diverse in my community, because I saw my mother give me permission to be okay with it. And I started even a movement with another Israeli sister, and I have many Jewish friends and Israeli friends, by the way. I have no issues with you know, there's no hate in my heart. I love them dearly. And just, you know, there was a friend, her name is Fia, hopefully she's here. She was Israeli, she was working in the army, and she came and we started a movement called the Gift of Acceptance, how we each other accept each other. And it was just so wonderful to go to her house and meet her children. And she tell me about the Israeli food, or she's speaking to me about her life in Israel while I share my food with her. It was just the most beautiful connection. And this is what we really need to do. Put aside what we have been told, you know, put aside what we have grown with. You know, listen, my mother was an activist. We learned how to hate the Israelis. Now, not the Jewish people. She worked with Jewish people. We have to distinguish between the Israeli Zionism and Jewish people. They're totally, you know, you could explain that. But I just want you to know that for somebody who was raised by a mom and even a dad or a community to say to hate, right? And not to kill, but to hate because of the occupation, because of the suffering, because of the genocide, because of, you know, the ethnic cleansing that's happening. And for me to choose to be in my light and to reach out to what quote unquote called the enemy, it takes a lot. And so I want to invite everyone, just like Ari and I are speaking and connecting, to find someone that you may have been told they're your enemy and reach out to them without judgment. I'm here to translate judgment into love. And I chose, my soul chosen to be a Palestinian for a reason, but I have to always remember that this is I stand in my light. This is who I am, and I stand in my light, no matter how hard it is to live and to go to the other side. Always remember, for those of you who are light workers that are here to create transformation, remember that you are here to create change and begin to do something about it, not just talk about it or teach about it, do something about it. Thank you, Ari, for the beautiful work that you're doing as well. I went to your YouTube and I saw your message that you put on today. So it really, really touched my heart. And I love you. And I want to tell you something else. There's a beautiful poem by Gandhi that I absolutely love. And it's just very, very quick. If you don't mind, I just want to share it. And this one is for Ari and all the Israeli people out there. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. May wisdom flow from the highest source. I salute the source in you. Let us work together for unity and peace. And this is a poem, Prayer of Peace from Gandhi.
Thank you. This message of humanization is so important because each one of us here, we each know someone who hates someone. I have family members and friends, we all see it on Facebook, where there is total justification and celebration of much of what is happening in the world, be it here in the US or in Gaza or in the West Bank. And this is where I think times like these offer somewhat of a blessing, in that it's potentially more easy to feel impelled to clarify and define our own morality. I personally see, and astrologically, I've taught on this on my YouTube channel. I'm an astrologer. That a lot of the developments that are happening now, here in the U.S., but also in many ways globally, mirror much of what was happening in the 1930s. And I speak about the development of the dictatorship in Germany in the 30s. And you think about what it was like to, be a white German, non-minority, not Jewish. How easy would it have been? I've been wondering about this, and I don't have an answer. I don't know enough people to talk to. How easy would it have been back then to live a normal life while millions of people were being killed over several years? It's something that I think about, and I think that it becomes harder and harder to live a sort of normal life in our own bourgeois bubble when there are more and more people that we've allowed ourselves to love, we've allowed ourselves to care about and care for. Some of the most important, impactful experiences. I mean, my partner Michelle is also an astrologer, and she said there's a woman from the West Bank in this group that I'm facilitating. I'm like, oh, cool, a West Bank, and I looked at her name, Diana Salkan. I'm like, that's an Arab, and so I meet her, and she is an astrologer studying the same evolutionary astrology modality that I practice in Ramallah. And I'm like, wow, there's a Palestinian astrologer that exists. That's cool. That's more human than I thought. It just the more we open, the more real it is. There's a man named Ibrahim. When I was 20, I was in the Dead Sea in the north, and I was hitchhiking, and this Arab tour guide invited me to come into his van, and I was hesitant because he's an Arab, and I don't know if I'm safe. And he saw that. He's like, I'm not going to kill you. So I get in the van with him. And he talks to me about all these rabbi friends that he knew, some people that I knew. He brings me to Eastern Jerusalem and talks to me about what it's like to be an Arab, what it's like to be a Palestinian man, how there's sort of this ambiguity around his own citizenship, a diminishing of his own human rights, just being a Palestinian man. And it was the first time that I ever had that encounter. Many of us aren't as lucky to get to love someone that is going through struggles that we may otherwise never know about. And I just want to really, seal this message. I come from a family, my grandmother left Nazi Germany. Her parents, her entire family was killed in Hitler's Germany. So myself and many of my Jewish brothers and sisters, we carry this imprint of we're not safe. Someone's going to get us. We're almost on the guard for it. And don't we all kind of know what that's like, even like on interpersonal relationships where we've been hurt and we're afraid, we have to be protected. And if we open up and if we care about another, we're not going to be safe. And so then history repeats itself. And we become blind to the patterns repeating itself in a different clothing, in a different cloak, in a different form. And I just think it's so important that we catch that and we see that. Caring and loving one another is possible. It doesn't matter even what our political views are. Just have compassion that there are children that are dying, that are being orphaned, to care about that. It starts there. Then that changes our political perspective, right? There's like a cognitive dissonance with our political views and then our compassion. And eventually we have to kind of bring our politics to our heart. But it starts with, our neighbor with a different political view might lend us a lawnmower. And then if shit hits the fan, you and that neighbor got a good connection. So build those bonds. I'm right there really emphasizing on Nasia's message, and right here sharing in the solidarity with you, Sahar, how important this meeting, this opportunity to meet with you and share this and kind of present together, because we have to be coming together, building these bonds. It's so deeply important right now.
And you know what connects us, Ari, is our higher frequency of the work that we're doing here on Earth. It's not our identity for you being who you are or my being who I am, and what connects us is what brings us here with Scott and everyone here is our frequency of light, our frequency, our consciousness that I hope all of us, the whole entire world wakes up one day and recognize that it's not about our skin color. It's not about, where we live, who we are, what we speak, what we believe, what our faith. We're all humans. Our souls are one. And everyone is as one. And this is really what I'm really, really focusing on, helping, leaders, or light workers that are really engaged in all the political, and now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of light workers that are doing activist work, and which is wonderful, but we have to be really mindful. If we are here to create transformation, we need to walk the walk and talk the talk. We have to do our inner work. We really need to remove all the layers of our ancestors' wounding and pain, remember them and love them and appreciate them and send them love, but not to walk their destiny in pain and suffering. We're not here to suffer. We are here to bring more light to this beautiful earth. We are so gifted that our soul have chosen this time to be here on earth, and to remember that we have to stay and remember who we are. We have to remember who we are. We are light, and it's not easy. Who I grew up with, it's not easy. But I just want to say thank you for showing up, Ari, and being who you are, and you're shifting and changing, and the way you're saying things, that I'm hearing you. I'm hearing your heart. I'm hearing who you are. I appreciate you. And I would love to share my, it's a 2-minute. Is that okay, Scott?
Yes, Sahar, why don't you share that? And then we're going to have Ari's going to sing a song. And I'll let people know how they can reach each of you. We'll go to your websites.
Thank you.
Please go ahead with your channeling.
Beautiful. So I channeled this in October 2023. And it's called Living Between Two Worlds. It was the time when I tapped into an idea of how my identity as a Palestinian would no longer exist. And so this is what I channeled. There is the world of the ego, of the identity, of the thought and the emotions, the world of the personality that creates our personal reality, the world where we want to fight for justice, demonstrate with judgment for our freedom and for our suffering, the world that screams for peace and fights for the innocence and resists the unfairness of the separation of humanity, the dark world that we can easily be entangled in, manipulated into believing the untruths, and the world of the dark lower frequencies. Then there is the world of the highest dimension, the world of the heart, compassion, kindness, and love, the world that unites us as one, the world that quiets our minds, that communicates with the divine, the highest guidance, and the angels up above. The world of the evolved human beings committed to their calling, their purpose, and being of service to humanity. The world where we meditate and send love, light, and prayers of healing to all who are in pain, no matter who they are. The world of the highest vibration where love's frequency is expanded, compassion is the religion, and oneness is our language. The world where there is no enemy, no war, and no hunger. That is the world that one day I envision every single human being will be living. It is the world with no boundaries, only community, one community on earth. Yes, it is not easy to live between two worlds, but there's much more light in the world that our souls has chosen, in the world where we thrive and evolve together as one human. Let us envision this beautiful world as a reality. One world, one human, one love, and one light. There's no space for anything else to enter. I'm choosing to live in this world, even at times like this, when it's not easy. And will you join me? Thank you.
I know that you are also offering something very, very beautiful.
Yes, I am.
Please tell us about the soulful clearing that you're offering to people.
So one of my gifts that I received from my Palestinian ancestors is the gift of healing. My great grandmas and grandmas were mediums, channels. And so I've been really extending my love to those who want to really get a clearing from me for whatever it is that's happening to you. And so you go to soulfulclearing.com, and I could do up to maybe 12 to 15 gifted half an hour energy clearing and balancing. And I just do an energy clearing to where I tune in, see what's going on in your system, especially those of you who are here to create change and you're stagnant. I check into your heart and throat chakra and solar plexus, and to make sure that I clear it completely so you could move forward and create change in this world or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. So soulfulclearing.com. And this is a gift from me to those of you who are resonating and really feel that I could support you at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a beautiful, beautiful gift. Thank you. And I put that into the Zoom room. And I'm going to go now to Ari. And Ari, thank you so much for being with us. And I think you've got a musical offering for us now.
I do. All right, this is a melody from Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, who was a friend of Ibrahim. And by the way, a year later, I was living in Massachusetts. I met a woman, a Christian woman, who actually introduced me to A Course in Miracles. And she was showing me pictures of a trip where she went to Israel. And guess who her tour guide was? That man that I hitchhiked with from the Dead Sea. And I, later learned he's actually a really well-known peace leader. Shalom v'chelach shalva b'armenotayich yehi shalom v'chelach shalva v'armenotayich Yehi shalom v'chilach shalva v'armenotayich Yehi shalom v'chilach shalva v'armenotayich Yehi shalom v'chelach 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 shalva v'armenotayich na 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 nai 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 ai nai 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 Yehi shalom b'chelech. There shall be peace in your cities. Shalva ba'armenotayach sa'a. Serenity, relaxation, wellness. In all of our dwelling places, it shall be.
I'm going to go to gallery view and let's all twinkle Ari and also Sahar for this very, very, very beautiful demonstration of peace and listening to each other, radical acceptance. Thank you so much. I want to let people know how they can connect with Ari. And it's his name, actually, his website. It's ARIMOSHE.com, AriMoshe.com. And I've got it here. And Ari, is there anything you'd like to make sure the audience knows about as they look at your website?
Yeah, I offer evolutionary astrology readings looking at the natal chart, your astrology chart, as a way to understand how we as a soul have created this lifetime to serve our own ongoing evolutionary work. So it's all about serving our own empowerment and cultivating knowledge of how we can meet our life from a more clear and soul-centered place. I have a YouTube channel, put out teachings and lots of classes and products for those that want to learn this work or study it or begin to integrate it in your own life.
Thank you very much. I'm going to bring up Christy because she was who introduced me to both of you, and to bring Sahar up one more time. And let's just all give a Global Peace Tribe twinkle and appreciation for this beautiful demonstration, this beautiful connection. And I want to give Christy a moment to share about her upcoming Magdalene event, which of course we're going to strongly be supporting. And you can learn all about what Christy does and what she's about to share at gospelofmarymagdalene.info, gospelofmarymagdalene.info. And Christy, what would you like for our audience to know?
That we are stronger with the love that we have than any bomb that's dropping. We just need more of us. And actually the statistics are we need 3.5% of the population aligned with the Global Peace Tribe thinking. And so I'm dedicated. I was so thrilled when I found out Sahar was back in town. She's been in the Middle East for 8 months, really in the trenches, boots on the ground, you know, helping women, supporting women. She's awesome. If you go have a clearing with her, she's amazing. And of course, Ari is the father of my grandbaby. And he is such a great father. It's not an easy job, but he really shows up and shows his love and his kindness and his peaceful heart to his rambunctious little toddlers. So I'm very grateful, Ari, that you're in my life and that you are the man that you are. And I loved your message, and thank you, Scott, for you should be up here too, Scott, because
Okay, well, and I especially wanted to just remind people about the Magdalene Feast Day. So
yeah,
please
Scott has graciously allowed my book is being published on July 22nd, which is Magdalene's Feast Day. So we're going to be doing an event in Petaluma at St. John's on 5th Street. And so come on out, and Ari's going to be playing music, and there'll be lots of other beautiful, and we'll have a book launch party.
Okay.
And Andrew Harvey is doing the book review. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
July 22nd for all of our Bay Area friends. And we're also going to do an Awakening World show to honor this. So
Yes, and Scott's going to have some of the authors on, including if you've been looking for a writing group, the Divine Writers Group that a star from Flower Life Publishing is so excellent. That's how I got to write and get published, because of her hand-holding and her nurturing energy. It's a group that goes wide and deep. Awesome group of women. So thank you, Scott. Appreciate it so much.
I want to take a moment. You know, we periodically do prayer and healing, and then we're going to have a Q&A period. And so if any of you have questions for Anasuya or Ari or Sahar, we will be bringing them back up in a moment for you to ask your questions or provide a few comments. I just realized my shirt is completely off base here. The good news, Ayada, who's in the audience with us, her son has taken a wonderful turn towards recovery. You know, the doctors had originally said there was only a 25% chance that he was going to live. He's now walking, and he's going to make it. And she's been very grateful for our prayers. So, you know, the prayers that we offer make a difference. I'm going to bring Desiree up. She hasn't been up for a little while. So while I'm chatting and we're doing our prayer time, I'm going to bring Desiree up. So it's really important for us to continue our prayers. And I'd like for us now to send our prayers to Piper Dellums. Beloved Piper sent me some messages. In fact, here, I'll pull up a picture of her. Here we go. Hopefully, there we go.
While you bring that, Scott, could I just lead us in a prayer in general?
Sure.
So I'm just going to ask that everybody takes a nice big breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. We're going to connect at that heart center. We're going to connect with that highest frequency of love. And as we breathe in, we're going to expand that. We're going to expand that to all the individuals on the call today. Expand that to all the people that are watching, to all the people that need it in the Middle East, whatever's in the highest good, to bring that love and that peace to those individuals. Let them have a greater understanding of truth. We're just expanding that love, expanding that frequency, bringing in some of that galactic energy as well. And just letting that expand. Saying thank you for all that what you do to raise your own consciousness. Thank you for all that you do to bring love and joy and happiness into your own life and spread that to the people around you. Wow, that one's deep. So thank you for that. And then just asking for healing for those individuals that need healing, whether it's their bodies, their minds, or their spirits. I'm just asking for whatever they need at this time for the highest good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Desiree. Perfect. Perfect. And let's stay in that positive energy. And I'm going to bring up a photo of our beloved Piper. She said this to me last night, actually. So let's look at that beautiful face that we love, that beautiful, strong spirit inside that body. And let's send maximum grace to our beloved Piper Dellums. And we give thanks for the healing of Ayada's son and send continued love and healing to both of them, both mother and son. And Ayada, anything you want to put in the chat box, I'll read it. And again, thank you, Desiree, for helping to lead our prayer. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring our other guests back up. This is where, if anybody has any questions or comments they want to share, you can either write it in the chat box or raise your hand. And again, you can raise your hand by just clicking this little fellow right here on your computer screen. And that brings you to the front, and that way I can see you most clearly. Piper actually was released. She went into the ER a few days ago, Diara, and she was released this morning. Susan Blomquist is just appreciating the beautiful prayer. Thank you so much. Roger and Bonnie wrote, thank you, Sahar and Ari, for your courage to come together and share in solidarity and desire and work toward unity and recognize our brother's sisterhood. You demonstrate your desire in real ways. We see and hear you. Absolutely. Thank you. Look and see if there's any other comments that anybody has. Janet Catalina writes, with so much thanks and appreciation to the wonderful messages. I'm Jewish and I have never met an Arab. What a wonderful message from Sahar Nafal. Well, now you have a new Palestinian connection, Janet, and she's opening herself up. So you can go to that website and create contact with her, which would be a very beautiful thing. Shoshana writes that her father passed on July 22nd, and she has a Mary Magdalene song that she wrote. So please connect with Christy on that, Shoshana. That'd be beautiful. Okay, Ayada posted about her son, so I'm going to scroll up and try and find it. And again, if anybody has thoughts or comments or questions, please pop them into the chat box. And I'm looking for, here we go. Here is the message from Ayada. She writes, it feels like a miracle is happening. He's been returning to consciousness and a bit of mobility. And I absolutely feel it has to do with the incredible outpouring of love, prayers, and healing energy sent to him by many Global Peace Tribe folks and a lot of others. Thank you, everybody who's been praying for my son. He's had a great medical team and tons of love. Prayer works. Prayer absolutely works. Lorna writes, history books are filled with outright lies. So much of what we learned in school was false. I'm in the process of unlearning so much of what I learned. Absolutely. And Susan writes, I appreciate this show as it demonstrates in action the principles we honor here. And well, we don't have any actual questions from the audience, so I'm going to open it up to Anasuya, Ari, or Sahar. If there's anything you'd like to add, anything that you thought to yourself, oh, I wish I had said, or I wish I'd reflected this, or just any responses to what you've heard from the others tonight.
I'd like to tell Janet, who has never met a Palestinian before, I would love to be your friend. I already sent you a message, and I appreciate your vulnerability and honesty. And I've met many, many, many Jewish people that have been told not to communicate with Palestinians. So for you to say that, I just want to welcome our friendship. Please give me a call or sign up for a session. I'd love to meet you and be your friend. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I'm checking Facebook, and there is a question on Facebook, actually. And the question is, how do we stop the polarization that social media feeds? How do we stop that? Anybody want to respond to that?
Delete your account.
Well, one thing I'll say about that, because I'm equally being polarized every single day by this government that is intentionally doing that. I mean, the goal is clearly, let's start a civil war. I can cause martial law, then I can be a dictator, and I don't have to have elections. So it's being pushed on us. It's being forced on us. It's being insinuated every end. Some people can't be trusted, some can, but the list of who can't be trusted is so long. So at a time of such polarization where we don't know who is our friend, we don't know who to trust, we don't know where to go, I say organize dinners. And I'm serious, organize dinners with all the people you were told to hate or to not like or to not trust and not be friends with. It's heavily radical, I know what I'm saying. You don't have to have them in your house if you're that scared, but find a place where you can have dinner and everybody brings something from their culture and the story that goes with this dish, and find out how much you have in common. It's a simple thing, because everybody loves to eat. But the polarization is because we buy into we have to stay separate to be safe. And I say that's a lie. We have to come together to be safe. We have to make new communities to be safe.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to make a suggestion, actually. Speaking honestly, for the most part, up until recently, I always voted Democratic. Pretty much got my news from CNN or the Washington Post or the New York Times. And my conversations with Marianne Williamson and watching what she went through, I have as much anger towards the Democratic National Committee as I do towards the Republican Party. And I'm not going to go into a whole long thing, but they absolutely shoehorned candidates. They did not have a democratic process, and they did terrible things to Marianne just because she chose to run against somebody that they wanted to shoehorn in. Likewise, I've had to really realize that a lot of the media I was getting was adding to my bias. I have found a really interesting source, a news source that I'm enjoying, and it's called ground.news, ground.news. And what it does is it shows you the different headlines and lets you know to what degree it's coming from a left-leaning source, a central source, or a right-winging source. So as you're actually reading the article, you can see, where it's coming from. And it's a really fascinating way to read the news and to begin to look at, okay, what are the left saying? What's the right saying? What's the central saying? And they really work hard. You can put in what topics are important to you. So right here we go, Juneteenth. So they have all sorts of articles about Juneteenth. They've got, Joe Biden going to a celebration in Galveston. They've got, what's happening from Fox News, what's happening from the Daily News, what's happening. And you can really learn about different news sources and how they lean. So it's a very interesting way to read the news if you feel the need to read the news. So I just wanted to put that forward. And I see that Christy has her hand up, so I'm going to bring you on, Christy.
Thank you. I also was very curious if Sahar would be willing to share. She just came back from being 8 months in the Middle East and working with women. And so I found it very inspiring and hopeful what you were sharing about what's happening to the women there and the work that you did with the women there, because, I think that once the women get more empowered and get a voice, things may be able to shift. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I would love to hear about that.
Thank you, Christy. Absolutely. It's interesting enough that I went there because my parents retired in Jordan latter 10 years of their lives, and they left us land and many properties. And so I had to do the power of attorney and to move their name into me and my siblings. And I had to do my Jordanian citizen as well. And what I have learned was just amazing about the process that I had to go through to learn about my ancestors through the process of getting my Jordanian passport. And while I had to wait, because I thought it would be 2-3 months, but it turned out to be extended, and I'm blessed because I could work from anywhere in the world with my business. I have decided to do women's circles, and I bring together different groups of women, different backgrounds, different religion, Christian, Muslim, didn't matter really. And there's a lot of people from Iraq there, Lebanon, very diverse right now, Jordan, because it's the hub for all the people that come after, they have wars in their country. And I've really learned what the common thread with these women, and we're talking about women my age, I'm 61. And so women, let's just say 50 up to maybe 70, 75, is they're losing the grip on their culture and their tradition because of the Western world. They're really having a hard time growing with their children who are the millennials, and their children who are the Gen Z, who are moving towards the Western way of living. Everybody's speaking English now, and the kids are just, into the social media and learning new ways and new things. And I had to they had to really, and they were extremely like hardship because their kids are being separated from them because they're going towards a total different way of the culture, right? It doesn't matter, by the way, whether they're Christian or Muslim. And I really needed to do a lot of healing work for them and to bless them and to just have them just be patient and really remember that they come first. They have to take care of themselves first, and their kids will eventually, come back. Or if not, they just let them go. Like Khalil Gibran says that your children are not your children, they are the children of life. They come through you, but they're not for you. And so we have to do that. So it was very interesting that I met with millennials. Oh my God, how much I loved working with the millennials and Gen Z who are waking up. And it was just the most beautiful thing. I attended at the Dead Sea where I could literally see Israel and the Palestine to my right. And I was Jordan, Dead Sea, doing a full moon meditation with this beautiful Muslim woman who had a scarf on. And it was just so majestic. And everybody was there to do the full moon meditation with the music. And so there's spiritualism and consciousness is really growing in Jordan. But the younger generation more than the, more mature or wiser community. So I just wanted to share that the world is waking up, and I witnessed that in Jordan.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. I'm really glad that Steve Bhaerman is still with us. So Steve, I'm sorry, I didn't see you earlier when I was bringing everybody back up. So here is Steve.
Thank you. I really like the idea of sharing food. There's such a thing as what's in the background and what's in the foreground. And because of the social media, because of the polarization, because of the tragedies that are in our face, that tends to get put in the foreground, and we think that that's what the world is about. So I'm thinking about something that happened about 10 or 12 years ago in the Bay Area. That was the Jewish-Palestinian reconciliation group, and they did a very smart thing. They created a holiday festival, a holiday gathering where everybody brought food. Both Israelis and Palestinians, we all love the same food, right? So it was really quite an amazing something about sharing food and sharing culture. There was so much love in the room. And so I want to think about that. I want that to expand, because what people do in these circles, like the women's circles, Sahar, that you were talking about, or these invite people that you don't like to dinner, or that you think you don't like, or you've been told not to like, invite people like that to dinner, and then all of a sudden there's a process called rehumanization, which really all of the problems that have been talked about today are all about dehumanization, the way that we've been able to dehumanize other human beings. Whether, those people are black people, they don't really count. There's something called the doctrine of discovery. Apparently, the Pope back in 1490 something, I think it wasn't Pope Innocent, I think it was Pope Guilty, a different Pope, who actually said to the great conquistadors, whoever you find out there, whatever you find, they're yours to take, it's yours to take. And so that actually, believe it or not, maybe you know this, Anastasia, that doctrine of discovery has still been part of U.S. constitutional law cited in this century. Pretty amazing. So the thing is that there's a lot of, there does need to be a truth, forgiveness, and not just reconciliation, but reparations movement, so that we can metabolize this and tell the whole truth together and have it be something that we hold as a country, as a unified country, as part of our history, as part of our karma, and that we don't bring it forward, because all of these battlefield conversations just bring the same thing forward. So I want to go back to Sahar, your parents remembering the people that brought the money, saying we owe you that, and that they got along before everything was politicized and turned into us versus them. So anything that we can do to rehumanize, that's why I like humor, because if we laugh together, we're all laughing at the same thing. It's a unifying power, and we recognize how much power there is in that coherence, and the coherence we create through joyful celebration. So it may not feel like it means very much if you invite a bunch of people that you don't know over and share a meal. It means a lot. That could be multiplied millions of times over.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very, very much. There's some good questions that have come in, and I'm going to bring Shoshana up next. Shoshana, you're on camera.
Hey, oh my God, this has been so touching and powerful. And I think a lot of times we can feel so powerless under the weight of all the layers. I had a quarter of my family killed in the Holocaust. I'm Jewish, but I identify with every religion of the world and different kinds of spirituality. And I think one way we could take our power and our sovereignty is to, and one of the situations that breaks my heart that I pray about every day is the Palestinian. I mean, it's so beyond all the atrocities, everything, and everything people have been through. And I got to meet Rianne Eisler recently, just through Zoom, and she distinguishes between ruling in societies that are based on force and domination and partnerships that tend to be more matriarchal, and the others that are, so it's like this duality and polarity of force and power, and the people that are perpetrating these things, they feel disconnected from the source. And so it's like the us, them, the empowering, whoever the face is behind the other side of the moat and the divide. So one way that I can feel empowered in an increasingly powerless looking situation is to pray. And I've had this thought, I haven't put it out there, but 7/7, it's 7 o'clock for 7 minutes, either 21 or 41 days. Everyone we know, just join and pray for peace, just for 7 minutes. And it's like, we can make that choice. I can make that choice to pray. And I think it's the most powerful thing we could do. And as we're guided and able, and in our spheres of influence, in the little and big ways, activism and everything like that, you know, I feel like a lot of us have had past lives of Native American, Black. I mean, I have all these chapters in my soul that are etched in the sands of time. And so everything is so touching and powerful. And yeah, I just wanted to share. So that's how I'm feeling empowered, is just the power of prayer and changing the face of things in that way. Just one heart flame at a time, lighting up.
Thank you, Shoshana.
All
Thank
of
you.
you. For the
We're
beautiful
going to have, I'm collaborating with a number of people, and there's going to be a big event with Rianne Eisler coming up in October. And she is very, very special. So you will be seeing her on the Awakening World. Thank you. Well, we're at 8 o'clock. We're way over agenda, and I still have a couple more things to show. So I'm gonna wrap up the Q&A for right now. I want to thank everybody very, very much. It's been powerful. So thank you, Steve, Christy, Sahar, Anasuya, Ari. Thank you all very, very much. What's behind me? World Unity Week. And it's every year, you know, World Unity Week started in 2020. Global Peace Tribe started in 2020. And when I started doing these shows in April with Deborah Giusti, and I also was doing ones on my own, and right away we learned about World Unity Week, and we did a show dedicated to it. And every year, this is our 6th year, 5 years, 6 years. I think it's our 6th time that we've supported World Unity Week. And so I am going to play a video from Becky. And we love Becky Suzik. She's a wonderful, wonderful soul. And I know many of you know her. You've seen her on the show before. So this is a short video letting us know how we can participate in World Unity Week. And I will also, of course, put the links into the chat box while we're listening to Becky.
Moment to everyone. Thank you so much to Scott for inviting me to be on the program with some of my other friends tonight for our World Unity Week upraising here that we're offering. I'm sorry that I can't be with you all live tonight. It's my son's 16th birthday this weekend, and we have lots of different things that we've been doing with him. And so I'm grateful to celebrate my son and also be able to make this video because we have a lot of really exciting things and an invitation that I want to share with you all. This week, we are launching our Solstice Unites event. And we also have World Unity Week beginning a week from today on the 21st. And World Unity Week will go for a week from the 21st of June to the 28th of June. And that launches us into the 99 days of peace through unity that will take us through to September 21st, the International Day of Peace. So you all are invited to join us. This week, I am privileged to be going to New York City, traveling to Manhattan, where we will have our Juneteenth event. And thanks to our hub holders, to Shonda, to Ingrid and Karen and others who will be helping to support the Global Fire Ceremony Room, the Zoom room. My hope is everywhere that I travel where we have an event, we will be able to weave in where, as long as I've got good Wi-Fi and internet connection, we'll be able to bring in the events that we are doing live to you. So that will be this Thursday. We're thinking the Zoom room will open at 5 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. That's for Solstice Unites and Juneteenth. And then on Saturday, we have World Unity Week launching, and we will be, those of us that are in New York will be at Collier's Park at 10 a.m. Eastern. And so you're invited to join us again. If it's easy for you to travel to New York and a possibility for you, we would absolutely love to see you in Molecule, as I say. Join us there in person. Or you can watch us through Unity Earth Television, and also thanks to Hubcast Media, we'll be distributing our programs wide and far through those outlets. And I believe Irina will tell you more about where you can pick up the Unity Earth television broadcast. So I'm going to take a moment to share my screen so that you can see where you can RSVP and check out this website. So we have our Mighty Network, and you're invited to join us for free on this Mighty Network. And when you come out here on the left side, if you're looking on your computer, you'll see a tab that says Events. And the Events tab will take you to all the things that we have coming up. Many of these events are listed in my time zone because I'm looking at it as me in Eastern Standard Time. So when you visit and you log in, it will present the time to you in your time zone. What we would love you to do, you can check out here. We have One Circle, Many Voices for our Thursday event. This is the link that you would use to RSVP that you are coming in person. And then the link beneath that is the watch party. And you can click that and you'll see that I've already RSVP'd because I plan to be both there in Molecule and the one with the camera bringing the event to you and anyone else who happens to be in the Global Fire Ceremony Room. You can RSVP here and then also join the Zoom room here by clicking this link on the day. And so we would love you to RSVP to any of these that you would like to join us with. And we'll be adding more events as the week goes on as well. So we want to make it easy peasy for you to join us in the Zoom room and know what's happening, what's buzzing. We have really amazing opportunities that I'm sure John is going to tell you about for you to launch or collaborate a mission over the 99 days. And I'm excited that Irina and I are collaborating a mission again this year, focused on helping and supporting women who are going through what they may be experiencing as a transition time. Both Irina and I have gone through a deep time of transition ourselves over the last couple of years with a lot of changes that have come through in our lives. And we decided we really want to support women in the emergence of what they're going through. And so we're dreaming up a beautiful program that we'll be telling you more about during the 99 Days of Peace. So you can learn more about it when we launch it in the space that John will show you, the Sacred Confluence Mission space. and in the Mighty Network in One World. So watch for it there, and if it resonates, you're invited to join us. And so again, I send you all so much love, and I'm so grateful that we're on the precipice here of another World Unity Week, the 6th one. And I hope that you feel this call now towards peace and to love and unity that World Unity aspires to invite us to reflect upon. And this year's theme being truth, beauty, and goodness. We hope that you find much truth, many truths, and many beautiful moments in what we're bringing forth. And I'm looking forward, particularly this coming week, to being in Manhattan and honoring the ancestors of the land, honoring the indigenous that I'll be working with to amplify and to support, and also bringing forth thanks to May Peace Prevail on Earth International and Fumi John Stewart, my dear sister, will be doing a World Peace flag ceremony as part of our offerings during the week. And it's such an extraordinary thing to be able to honor all of the diversities of the countries that our world holds. And through that, I just celebrate the diversity of us. I celebrate that it is Pride Month. I celebrate the diversity of us human beings across the spectrum of gender, across the spectrum of our sexuality, of all of the beautiful things that make us human. I'm so grateful. Thank you all, and I hope to see you and be with you live in a Zoom room again very soon. May peace prevail on earth and love.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. You know, I was going to show this video that I was going to show 2 weeks ago and then get tonight of Dominique, but it can wait. But my tummy, which has not eaten in several hours other than half a banana, cannot wait. So I'm going to wrap it up. But I will show the video of Dominique and the Interstellar University sometime soon, maybe even this Saturday night. This Saturday night, we are going to have a very special experience. Dr. Reverend Ivy Shadia is going to lead us on a very powerful summer solstice sound bath. It's going to be about a half an hour long, and it's going to take us very, very deep. We're also going to see some of the highlights from what has already been happening with World Unity Week. And we also have a wonderful musical artist, Alison Eden, and the return of our beloved Omar Shar. So it's going to be a very summer solstice celebratory kind of evening. A lot of music, a lot of sound bath, a lot of cool things. So please make sure you're with us on Saturday night. And please do share the Awakening World with your friends. Let's grow our audience. Thank you again. Hallelujah, Anasuya, Swami Steve Bhaerman, Diara, for all that you do to help out. Beautiful dialogue between Ari and Surah. So far, I need to eat. And Desiree, oh my God, I should have brought you up while I was doing all my blah blah here. Thank you, Desiree. So I'm going to bring up our friends one last time that have been part of tonight's show, and let's give them our thanks. I'm even going to bring up Trudy, because behind every great Swami, there's a Trudy. So we appreciate you, Trudy. Thank you. Christy Michaels, thank you. So, whoops, I almost pinned Christy. Christy and her granddaughter, about a relation to Ari, who we saw earlier. And then finally, let's go to Gallery View. For all of you, at least those of you who have your cameras on, thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight. It was a powerful show. Please take the recording and share it with your friends. It's important to share this out. And I hope to see you all on Saturday night. And happy Juneteenth. Let's all follow Anasuya's suggestions. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.